Yeah. Let's go.
It's stadium seats, so what does that mean? That mean it's Frizz, Gemz, and Tay, and we hot in the scene. Every platform possible, you know it's the team. To emails, the airways, down we counting the streams, it's love. To all the sports fans that's rocking the building. And when we turn, please admit that you're craving the feeling. Frizz and Gemz, please believe. You know how we rock, right? Tay with the red bottoms, now she taking the spotlight. Frizz, let's make sure we get that #1 spot tight. Cause when we rock right, we do tours, take top flights, the tailgate crazy. The fans, they amaze me. Salute to all the fans that been rocking with us lately. Love.
Yeah. Stadium seats. This is Frizz. Yeah. My main man, Gemz. What's going on, Gemz?
I'm feeling good tonight.
Man, so am I. Riding high right now, brother.
Why are you riding high right now? Tell the fans.
You know what?
Why are you riding high right now?
Shout out, baby, to those Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steeler Nation.
That's what I'm talking about.
They didn't think they could do it.
Hey,
I didn't think they could do it.
When they thought it was over, Gemz, Mike Tomlin and the boys are bringing them back. 5-4. Again, shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers, man.
Shout out to them. I didn't think they could do it. I had the Rams, but they proved me wrong.
Gemz,
salute.
Right when we get into our show here, without our wonderful third co-host, Tay. Okay, I know the fans might be a little upset about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a little under the weather. It is flu season. So kind of hit her a little hard. But, you ran a poll, okay?
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Right.
And me and you got destroyed in this poll.
Really?
So, fans, if you're listening, the poll was, who's your favorite host of Stadium Seats?
Uh-oh.
And me and you, Frizz and Gemz, we got a total between the two of us of 2 votes.
Whoa.
And Tay just destroyed us at 83%.
Ooh, so the fans, they spoke, right? They definitely spoke.
I'm shouting out Tay for winning that poll.
Shout out to hold on. Can I give a special shout out to Tay?
Go ahead.
Well, first off, Tay, we miss you. Hopefully you come back soon and get well. Health is always the first thing. So, get better. Second of all, you know what? The fans spoke. So shout out to the Red Bottom Queen and get back soon. Let's go.
No doubt. Hey, hit us up. Stadium Seats podcast at gmail.com. Email us questions. We'll be getting some more questions on Twitter. We're getting some more DMs on the Twitter line. We're up to 448 followers, Gemz.
Oh, we are moving good. Moving on up.
Shout out to that. You can hit us up on Twitter at Seats Stadium on our Twitter handle and tell us what you think about games. We're sending out tweets all day, usually on the weekends and whenever we can. So we want to know. We're here for the fans. Without further ado, Gemz, let's dive into the NFL action today.
Let's do it.
Shout out to the Miami Dolphins for winning another game today. The Fins are in the building.
Hey, they're going crazy on Ocean Drive right now. Mangoes, let's go.
What's Ocean Drive like right now, probably?
Oh, it's lit right now. Definitely the true Dolphin fans. That whole area, surrounding area is lit. I mean, they got 2 consecutive wins in a row. Hey, I like what I see when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. They're turning it around right now. It was on a losing streak, and what?
That gunshot there was for the Indianapolis Colts. I think they might be done, bro.
You can't lose to Miami, right? You just can't do that.
I mean, I don't know. Well, shout out to the Fins. Good job, Fins.
Yeah, they need the quarterback back. Yeah.
Hey, if you're in Miami and you're listening, shout us a question. We want to hear from you. Packers today. They won a tough game at the end of the game there. Christian
Ooh,
McCaffrey,
close. Was
1
he in?
yard short.
Was he in?
You know,
Was he in?
I don't think he was, from seeing the replays. Awesome atmosphere, though. That's what November and December football is all about.
The snow, right? Absolutely.
Cold, Lambeau, the frozen tundra. Didn't watch much of that game, but,
That's
it was
Green
just
Bay
watching.
all the way. That's Green Bay all the way.
They pulled it off today. The Buccaneers, they won 30-27. Okay, they beat the Cards. Cards are kind of in some trouble. Hey, good pick. Congratulations on that. I think you took the Bucks.
Yeah, I took the Bucks. Yep.
So Winston went off again. He threw for 358, and they beat the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are looking pretty bleak right now. I think they're just going to be scratching now.
The Bucks are still disappointing though, Frizz. I mean, they got too much talent to be losing like that, but I'm glad they won, pulled it out.
The game that you were talking about last episode here is the Jets and Giants. That no one probably did watch it, like you said. But the Jets pulled that one out 34-27. Le'Veon Bell continues to be very quiet. He only had 34 yards and 1 touchdown, but the Jets won that one. And the two surprising ones of the afternoon. Let's talk about these two games a little bit. The Tennessee Titans defeated the Chiefs 35-22 or 32. Yeah. And the Atlanta Falcons showed up for once this year.
They showed up.
Defeat the powerful New Orleans Saints 26-9. Let's talk about that Titans game, man. What do you got?
I tell you what, Tannehill was clutch, wasn't he? I mean, that was clutch. Going down there and going down the field on that defense, staying composed, and really keying in on his open receiver through the middle, and they got a touchdown. I mean, it was just a great win for the Tennessee Titans there, and a great win for Tannehill too, because they was in disarray there with the quarterback position. Is he a starting quarterback? Is he a backup? He moved around the league a little bit. So, I mean, shout out to the Tennessee Titans. I like to see that win. I like to see that win for that franchise there. So, salute.
Hey, how did the Chiefs lose that game when Mahomes came back? He was 36 for 50 with 446 yards, 3 TDs, no picks, and they still lost.
It's the defense. There's a lot of holes in the defense with Kansas City, and they're going to have to tighten that up before the playoffs, because no matter what homes do, you gotta protect, your side of the ball. And plus, they need to start running the ball more. I think Kansas City, they just got to start running the ball, running that time down. Going in a shootout in the NFL, you can win like that, but you can also lose like that as well. So, got to establish the run game.
Shout out to the Titan fans out there. Big win for the Tennessee Titans. Hey, let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans game. 26-9, final score. Drew Brees, kind of a quiet day, 287, no TDs. That was the most interesting thing for me in this one. Matt Ryan, quiet too, 182 yards, 2 TDs, 1 pick. But, they found a way to beat the New Orleans Saints in that game. They just didn't convert a lot, and I don't know if they were just shook or what, but, it's the NFL. Anybody can win on any given day. The Atlanta Falcons did end their 6-game losing streak. So, I know they're not even in contention. And maybe this is good for New Orleans, Gemz. What do you think?
You know what? Losing early is a good thing. New Orleans had a good run. Consecutive wins, and they fell short. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's to Atlanta. Atlanta's not going to be in the playoffs at all. It's a learning experience, for New Orleans. I bet, Drew Brees and the head coach is going to get them back on track next week. And, they're going to run the table. So it's just unfortunate that, with the NFC right now, you want to get that home field advantage so every win counts. But from losing a game from that perspective, I think New Orleans will be fine.
No doubt. Hey, let's move on to the Baltimore game. They played the winless Bungles.
That game was a terrible game. It was terrible. Lamar Jackson, he was just doing whatever he wanted to do out there.
Man, shout out to the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson for taking care of business, which they should have done.
Yeah.
But, man, as much as I dislike Jackson, he's good. And,
did you see that move he did? Oh, yeah.
My. I know. And, I could sit here and ponder all day about I don't think he's a quarterback, but he's winning football games. So, I mean, he was the leading rusher for the team today, too. So, I mean, there you go. They're back to my point. He's also a runner, which is, hey, more power to him. They're dangerous. Like you said last show, you got to find a way to stop them.
Got to stop them. But I think that I do agree with you with this. In the playoffs, he's going to have to pass the ball. They're going to force him to pass the ball.
Yeah, I agree.
They'll figure him out playoff time, but there's still going to be a force to reckon with. It's not going to be easy, but he's going to have to pass the ball sooner or later.
I agree 100%. So, the Ravens, they continue to lead that AFC North division with that victory. The Browns pulled one off today, 19-16. They finally won. They beat a 6-2 Bills team. I watched that game. The thing that worries me, or not worries me, that I have a problem with Cleveland is they were in the red zone 2 times on the 1 yard line and I think on the 3 yard line. The one time they had the possession down there, they had the ball 8 consecutive plays. For 8 consecutive plays, they could not get in. They went for it on 4th and 1. They didn't get it. The Buffalo defense, pretty good defense, but, the Bills just didn't play well today,
Listen, if you can't convert in the red zone, then that's an issue. But they were fortunate to win this game. They were very fortunate to win this game. Buffalo came up short. I think Buffalo had opportunities to pull this game away, take it away from Cleveland. Mm-hmm. They didn't do it, and they come up short. But I think Buffalo will turn it around, and Cleveland, who they play next week, so that's going to be gonna be something special as well.
Oh yeah, short week too. Traveling to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh traveling to Cleveland. So Mayfield had a decent day, for 238, 2 TDs. Nick Chubb won that game for them. If you ask me, he had 116 on the ground. So I like Chubb. They continue to roll. Chubb. The Lions are in trouble. Obviously, Stafford didn't play today. They lost to the Bears. Trubisky, he had a little bit of a better day today. It's 173, 3 TDs. But Jeff Driscoll, the QB for the Lions, couldn't do it.
I lost faith in Trubisky, though, right? Did you?
Yeah,
Have you yet?
Yeah. I think all of Chicago has also. If you're a Chicago fan, hit us up. Let us know how you feel about that. We really don't follow them too much, but we'd like to hear your input on that. But you're right, man. He's not what they're looking for in the future.
No,
it's going to be interesting where Cam Newton goes. There's a couple teams out there that he could go to, right?
I think
Cincinnati, maybe.
Cincinnati, Chicago,
Indy, possibly. I mean, they got Brissett.
I like Brissett, though. I like Brissett there. I wouldn't like Cam. Miami, yeah. I mean, he could be box office in Miami. But, you got this draft coming.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, and we'll get into that a little later, but there's a lot of studs in the draft coming out. So, there'll be a select few teams I think Chicago, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Now, let's talk about this Pittsburgh Steelers game and this Rams game for a little bit. The Steelers held on to go 5-4. And again, shout out to the Steelers for running off these wins, 4 in a row, okay, after Absolutely. Big Ben goes down, okay. You have a multitude of injuries with Connor out, for several games with his shoulder, your star running back's out, your star quarterback's out, but you're finding a way to win because of one thing. That defense right now is, in my eyes, the top in the league right now, okay.
Absolutely.
They just took the lead this week on forcing turnovers. They got 25 now on the year. That is unheard of. I mean, they are my 3 keys to this game before we started, and I tweeted it out there. I put contain Gurley, and they did a pretty good job. Pressure Goff when they could, and they did. And, I put for the offense, they need to get a good running game going, and they didn't really do that, but their defense definitely stepped up in a big way. What do you got?
Shout out to Watt. Shout out to Bud Dupree. Shout out to Cam Hayward, that defensive line. Hargraves, Williams. I mean, shout out to all those guys. They stepped it up. They made it very, very difficult for Goff to even do anything. Yeah. And shout out to the secondary.
Amazing.
Right. How many receptions did who's the receiver from
Cooper Kupp?
Cooper Kupp. Did he even get a reception today?
I think he might have had one late.
Our secondary, they shut him down. And that's very unlikely for a player like that to get shut down.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing about it, Gemz, is in the NFL, a win's a win, obviously, but they tried to give that game away so many times. Yeah, and the defense just kept bailing them out. I thought on that last drive when they chewed up about 6-7 minutes of the clock, I thought that was going to be the nail right there. Mm-hmm. But, even at the end of the game when they had the ball and they couldn't get a first down and they had to punt it back with a minute, that's when I started to get a little shaky. Like, oh, man, I don't know. I don't know if they can hold, but they held true. Shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
I just want to say this really fast before you move forward. Shout outs to Fitzpatrick. And I think he's in the ranks now for Defensive Player of the Year. And shout out to Mike Tomlin for getting his, 4th win in a row. And if they do make the playoffs, I think he's in line or he's up for Coach of the Year. So
absolutely. Shout out to him. You mentioned Minkah Fitzpatrick in that trade. Great trade, by the way. In 7 games with the Steelers, you ready for these? 34 tackles, 5 picks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 2 TDs scored. Pittsburgh's 5-2 in those games.
Oh, yeah. And they're doing it without their Hall of Fame quarterback. Shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Doing the thing. Quick update right now. You got the Minnesota Vikings up on Dallas 7-0 right now. That game just kicked off a little while ago.
Yeah, I had Minnesota winning this one.
I know you did. I know I had Dallas winning this one at home. So we'll see where that takes us. So without further ado, Gemz. Email segment here at Stadium Seats. Remember, hit us up, stadiumseatspodcast@gmail.com. Our first email comes from Ronnie Meeks from Vegas.
Shout out to Ronnie.
Shout out Vegas?
Yeah.
Like that, getting an email from Vegas. City that never sleeps.
I like it. Let's go to Vegas.
We should do a show live in Vegas.
Yeah, the Bellagio, somewhere out
there. Like in the hotel room,
Yeah, in the hotel room, because they probably won't let us do it, outside the hotel. So, yeah.
On the sidewalk, we could do it on the sidewalk.
Yeah, with a little sign, Stadium Seats with our shirts. It's all good.
Written on a piece of cardboard. I love it. They'll think we're homeless.
It's all good, One step at a time. Stadium Seat. Best in the world, baby. Best in the world. Let's go.
We're here right now. Ron. He said, I'm from Vegas. I came across your show and must say you 3 have set my expectations. I seen the poll on Twitter, who the best host, and I must say after listening to the 3 episodes, Tay, you are the best.
Wow.
Another admirer, huh?
Yeah. Red Bottom Queen.
Show them boys how it's done. Ouch.
Whoa.
Okay. But shout out to Frizz and Gemz. You guys are great too. I definitely can see someone reaching out to Gemz regarding his voice.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Hey, you know what? Make sure you tell Tay that okay? Because Taylor's hating on me a little bit. Go ahead.
I messaged that over to her, and she kind of just threw the hands up emoji, like.
All right. Well,
Yeah, so
we'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
anyways, he just wanted to get all three of our opinions on college football. Will the college football get the playoffs right this year? And it says Ron Vegas. So first of all, thanks, Ron. We appreciate you. Appreciate the love. Obviously, you're only going to get two opinions tonight, but go ahead, kick that off. What do you think about this college football playoff? Are they going to get it right, or is it going to slip through the cracks?
I hope so. I mean, the last couple of years, there's been a lot of complaints that they haven't got it right, the committee, but I really do think that they should be able to get this right. You know, a couple teams, there's a lot of scenarios, and we'll get into that, later in the show. But if Alabama makes the playoffs, then they didn't get it right at all. You know, and I know there's been a situation before where Alabama had one loss and they still got in, you know, and I don't think it should be that way, even though Alabama is one of the best teams in college football. They lost, as we all know. And so these are the type of things, wrong, that we got to look at. Where are the committee showing favoritism to certain, college institutions, or will they be fair? I think that they should be fair. I think this would be a clear cut picture of who the top four teams is for college football playoffs this year. So hopefully they get it right, but I do think though they will this time.
Yeah, I think so too, Ron. Sorry, I'm dying over here, guys.
It's all right.
I was sneezing. Flu season. Shout out to flu season.
Shout out to flu season. Get your flu shot.
Yeah, right now with that college football playoff, it's looking, like LSU, OSU, Clemson, and Bama. The thing that irritates me about it is Clemson right now sitting in that.
Oh, you just say Bama?
Yeah, actually, Bama?
Yeah. So you think Bama's going to be in the playoffs?
Well, the AP and the media does too, because those are the first results out right now.
No way. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Go ahead.
I understand, but this is what we're looking at right now. You know what I mean? And so Clemson right now is sitting at number 3, and they got Wake Forest coming up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We know that OSU got to play Penn State yet, so that's yet to be known. Okay. The thing that's kind of going to be weird here is, who do you put in once? See, because Bama lost, obviously, to LSU last night. Great game, whatever. But then you got Georgia sitting at number 5, okay? They have an Auburn game coming up here. If they beat them, I think they slide in front of Clemson, and Clemson moves out. You know what I mean?
Really?
I don't know. I don't like it. Ron, to answer your question, I'm not big on it. I don't think that
Well, for Alabama to get in, they would, LSU would have to lose twice. And I don't think, and that's just wistful thinking. That's just chaos, right? So they're not going to lose twice. They got Ole Miss coming up. They got kind of like the weaker, schedule of the SEC. So I just don't think that LSU is going to lose twice. Like, they would have to lose twice for Alabama to get in. Now, if the committee's looking at ratings and, bringing in money and things of that nature, which I think they all do, then yeah, they're going to probably, throw Bama in there, because if you look at the ratings, what happened with LSU and Alabama on Saturday, I mean, that was a great game, historic game, right?
Right.
Historic. I mean, it was a very exciting game. A lot of people were tuned in. But see, this is what I mean, and this is what Ron's saying, is will they get it right? Just due to that, LSU's not going to lose twice. They're going to win out. Okay? Alabama should not be in.
Yeah, well,
it's just the way it goes. It just shouldn't be in.
You know what? We're going to have to see, bud. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. And like I said before last episode, I'm not going to sit there and watch like an Oregon team or a Utah team in a playoff. Like Minnesota jumped up to 7. Where do they go? They looked good. They're undefeated.
Yeah, they look good, but it's not it. Like, they're not going to be in the playoffs.
Ron, shout out to you, man. Keep the love coming. We appreciate you. Hey, moving on. EC Sports shot us out with an email. She just showing us some love. She just said that I want you to know that there's a lot of chatter about stadium seats on Twitter, and we appreciate that. Seat Stadium is our Twitter handle. The question that she had was talking about Washington, D.C., the most winningest city in 19. Has it surpassed New York, Boston, and Chicago for bringing home most championships in 1 year?
Well, let me say this. In 2019, I'm not sure, but overall, no, they haven't surpassed. New York's first and then Boston second, so they haven't surpassed them.
Yeah.
So I would say no.
Yeah, I would say no, too, on that. So just to touch base on that. Not going to really dive deep into it, but love the love. But the reason I want to address this is last episode, enjoyed when Gemz brought out the Unreal song. Wonder if we'll hear any more vocals from him in the future. All love, keep up the good work. Stadium seats, season ticket holder, EC Sports. Much
EC
love.
Sports, shout out.
So let me ask you, Gemz, will we?
Right.
Will we hear?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I think people want to hear it.
I do too. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Stadium seats, we're the best in the world.
That's what we do. That's what we do here. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Twitter, we did just recently get a little tweet from Jason Slates out of Lexington, Kentucky. Shout out to Lexington, Kentucky. We're trying to get around the world here. We're trying to hit different states, and it's kind of doing it. We're kind of doing our thing right now, and I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting there. We're getting bigger. So, hey, Jason wants to know. Jason wants to know a couple things. First of all, he just says, love the show. How do you think the top 4 teams looked after week 1 of the college basketball season? Something we haven't really talked about yet because we know it just started and we're in the midst of, the NFL going on right now. And we got college football here winding down here. But this is something we definitely love, college basketball with the NBA. But I'll go first on this, Gemz. Again, thanks for the love, Jason. Appreciate it. Keep listening. Hit follow on our Spotify. And for all the other fans, too. Look, number 1, Michigan State. These polls are going to reset tomorrow on Monday. So they went 1-1. Beginning of the year, that UK. Shout out to Kentucky again. I'm sure Jason's a huge Wildcat fan. So they lost to UK in a tight one, in the first game of the season. They won their second game, so they're 1-1. They're going to fall out of number 1. Kentucky's going to be your new number 1.
Absolutely.
Kentucky's 2-0. Obviously they beat Michigan State and they blew out Eastern Kentucky the other night. Number 3 is Kansas. They lost to Duke and they blew out their second game opponent. I don't even know who it was off the top of my head. And number 4 is Duke, and they're 2-0. So if you ask me, Kentucky will be 1, Duke will be 2. Kansas might drop to maybe 5 or 6. Louisville, another Kentucky school, they're 2-0. They're number 5 right now. This is preseason. And then the team that I'm interested in to see, the number 9 UNC Tar Heels. That kid Anthony, he's pretty nice.
Yeah, he's good. He's really good.
They'll climb a little bit. So I think it looked good, man. I thought the games that I watched were pretty good. I was excited. I like, on a personal level, I like watching college basketball better than the NBA. I think you're a little opposite, right, Gemz?
Yeah, I mean, I watch them both, but I'm more of an NBA guy. But I love college ball and I follow it. So yeah,
yeah. So
yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Those first 2 games, with Kentucky and Michigan State, Kentucky just they played really, really good. Their defense just stifled Michigan State in the first half. They only held them. They held them to 24 points and forcing 10 turnovers.
Yeah.
And when it came to the offensive side, Tyrese Maxey, he was great. He finished 2 points shy of the school record, freshman school record, and debut at 26 points and 15, which came in the second half.
Yeah.
So he played a really, really good game. Michigan State, they need a second option, don't you think? Like, they just didn't have that second option, that second person to just get them over the hump. They fought back, then they gave it up, then they fought back again, and it was just like, you know what, Michigan State, you need to go back to the drawing board there. But with Coach Izzo, he'll get them back going, and they'll get rolling again. They'll find that piece that they need. But speaking of the Duke and Kansas game, Kansas and Duke's terrible right now.
Yeah.
They look terrible, right? Kansas turned the ball over 27 times. They committed 18 turnovers in the first half.
Yeah, that was a sloppy game, man, and
very sloppy game. And then Trey Jones, I'm glad that he played good as sophomore for Duke. He led them with 15 points, and they won by 2 points. But that was ugly. You could tell that they are missing that superstar player with Duke. With with Barrett and Zion leaving, they don't have those calibers of players. But I think it's all right. With Coach K, he's a team oriented guy. A lot of his Duke teams in the past had one great player, a couple great players, but they played good as a team. So we'll see. But it's just to answer Jay's question. Kentucky was the best.
Yeah, they look the best.
All four.
I'm going to just touch real quick before we go to the next thing is I think that Maxey and Richards from UK, those dudes are PT peers, man. Those dudes could play ball. And every year, Kentucky reloads and always takes that deep run. So I'm a big UK fan too. So you know what? Shout out Jay from Lexington, Kentucky. We appreciate you. You, sir, are a true season ticket holder here at Stadium Seats. Gemz, update on the NFL real quick. Looks like the Minnesota Vikings took another TD to the house. It's 14-0.
Dallas got issues. They got issues.
Yeah, I was just blowing them up, saying that I was going to take them to the Super Bowl. Can you believe that? God.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what I was talking about. Remember, hit us up at Seat Stadium. We are up to 438 followers. We love the fans here. You can email us at stadiumseatspodcast@gmail.com. Also, real quick, there's also a couple other tweets that we got on our Twitter, but we kind of already touched base on them. A couple were talking about the college football playoffs and what they thought about that and everything. So
question for you. What did you think about the Penn State Minnesota game? Like, we need to talk about that.
I thought Minnesota just had their number. I thought they came out flat. Penn State did. I thought that, they tried to force too many balls inside. The pressure of Minnesota's defense was just too much. I mean, their crowd was ruckus.
Shout out to the head coach of Minnesota, PJ Fleck, right? Shout out to him.
Yeah,
that win for Minnesota was a program-changing win because they're 9-0 now, but until Penn State, they haven't really beat anybody that was really elite.
Yeah,
ranked high,
I agree.
So shout out to PJ Fleck. I mean, he was just over there, fired up, pumped up. The energy was going. And shout out to Tanner Morgan, right? I mean, he led the way, completing 18 to 20 of his passes for 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. That's the way to play against, a defense like Penn State, right? Even I think Penn State's defense, they came out flat though.
Yeah, I think we all took Penn State. Tate took Minnesota. Shout out to her.
Yeah, I mean, just think though. Just think about this. If you didn't see the game, okay, and you was just reading the box scores, I would think it would be misleading, right?
Yeah.
because Clifford, he throws for over 300 yards. You got Journey Brown that rushed for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then you have 2 other Penn State receivers that go over 100 yards, and you would think Penn State would win.
Yeah, Gemz.
But I tell you what, the turnovers by Clifford, in the beginning, the second play of the game, and that's when Minnesota's fans got hyped.
And then a lot of the time during those passes, they were playing catch up. You know what I mean? They were trying to air it out, trying to get caught up there. So, I mean, hey, shout out to Minnesota. They did their thing, man. And
I think they'll meet again, though. What you think?
Yeah, definitely.
I think they're going to meet again in the championship.
Definitely. But I don't know. Ohio State's pretty good.
Well, if they beat Ohio State and they win out, then they're going to have to play, Minnesota again for the championship, right? Am I right?
You're right.
So this could be a, game 2. But hopefully Penn State beats Ohio State. But Ohio State is a complete team. They look dangerous. Oh.
Yeah, they do.
They're not even playing with their best defensive player. He's been suspended 4 games, but he appealed it. So we'll see where that goes.
That's another topic for another show for sure, because that's crazy. And in all, hey, let's just change gears here real quick before we wrap up here shortly. Let's just the NBA. The Celtics, they're 7-1 right now. They're a quiet 7-1. They're leading the East. And then leading the West is still the Lakers, man. 7-1. So
you know what? The Lakers, they're good. I mean, you know what LeBron's doing? He's letting Anthony Davis take over the game and do his thing. And one thing about what the Lakers are doing as well on the defensive side, they are playing good defense. And they got some good, solid one-on-one defensive players on the defensive side that could really slow the ball down, stop it, and then once LeBron gets it out in an open court, him and AD, they just destroy everybody. So it's going to be exciting to see as the season goes forward. But Gordon Hayward, though, he just got hurt. He fractured his hand, I believe.
Again,
he broke. Yes. He's got a broken hand. So I don't know how long he'll be out about that, but the reports came out yesterday that he suffered, a broken hand. So I don't know how long he's going to, be out for. So, but yeah, the Celtics, they're doing great. They're doing great. Watch out for the Celtics.
Yeah, man. And then, the LA will probably wrap up tonight with a win. They play the Raptors. I know the Raptors are a little banged up right now, so that'll be an interesting matchup tonight, man. And
Kevin Lowry, he broke his thumb, so he'll be out for a couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see what happens there. Remember, we usually do our show on Wednesdays and mostly Sunday nights. So sometime during the weekend. And remember, we don't do it live. We always record it and pop it up, and it's on in about 10 minutes. So I know a lot of the listeners have messaged me, and they said, hey, what channel can I find it on? Or, just to clarify things to our listeners, Gemz, that, hey, we're on all the major platforms except iHeartRadio. But in December, in the first week of December, we will be on iHeartRadio as well.
Shout out to iHeartRadio, right? You on there?
So we are growing. You can find us on all the major platforms. And then, like I said, we just do this for fun. And we do this for the fans because we love sports, and that's what we do. And I'm coughing.
Yes, you do. Yes, you are.
Oh, man.
A lot. Like, what's going on down there? What are you doing?
I don't know, man. The weather changed,
Yeah. You gotta make sure you're all right over there.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Man, what's going on?
It's called winter, baby. It's called winter. So EC Sports wants to know, what's up, Gemz? What you got tonight?
I don't know if I got anything tonight. I'm just very happy that the Steelers got a big win. I'm riding high on that. They proved me wrong. So I don't got nothing yet.
I got you.
Not today.
I feel you.
Not today. But I promise EC Sports, the fans, next week Wednesday when we drop a new episode, I got something.
I got one question before we end the show.
Okay.
Would you rather listen, to R&B or hip hop? Like, what kind of guy are you? R&B or hip hop? I'll let you go first.
R&B or hip hop? You know what? I'm old school, so I like hip hop. I love hip hop, but R&B it's just something about R&B that just makes me feel good, right? And like kind of R&B kind of like faded out right now, but I'm talking about I like the old school R&B back in the 90s, so I'm an R&B guy. Like you throw on an R&B track and if I'm driving on the road, I could just listen to R&B all day. Or if I'm cleaning up in the house, I listen to R&B. It's all love.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know what? Me too. They call me the king of slow jams.
The king of slow jams.
Absolutely.
And what makes you the king of slow jams?
Because I listen to a lot of slow jams.
All right. So what's one of your favorite slow jams that you listen to?
Favorite ever? Probably, Keith Sweat. I'm definitely a huge Keith Sweat fan.
Well, hold on now. Before we go, there's a lot of Keith Sweat classics out there. Shout out to Keith Sweat.
Shout out Keith Sweat.
Yeah. So what song do you like? And can you give the audience a little bit of...
I'm not much of a singer, Gemz, but I'm like Make It Last Forever, maybe,
Ooh. I like that.
Like, what I'm saying? Like sit down, get a little romantic, you know what I'm saying? But or even when you or even when you're driving, you just, you're driving and you got the window down with the arm out. And you're like, let me hear you tell me you love me. Let me hear you say you never leave me. Oh, girl, you make me feel so right. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Stadium Seats, you're the best in the world.
Stadium Seats, man. Hit us up.
Make It Last Forever. I do like this song.
Song's hard. Hey, come real with it.
But but next time just play the track, all right?
I can't do that. It's against...
Yeah, that's right. Do not do that. Do not
It's against infringement rules or whatever.
Yeah, do not do that. Sorry. Whoever heard that, sorry.
Hey, man, hit us up, Seat Stadium. This is Frizz and Gemz. We're getting out of here. Hit us up at...
Tay, get well. Come back.
Hit us up at Seat Stadium on our Twitter, stadiumseatspodcast@gmail.com. We're here all the time. Frizz, Gemz, we out of here.
Yeah.
It's Stadium Seats, so what can I say? It's the end of the show with Gemz, Frizz, and Tay. So tune in the next week, we bringing the heat. And subscribe to the page, we hot in the street at Seat Stadium. The Twitter be that Tay with the topics, she's bringing the facts. With the style so great and the swag so wrong, Stadium Seat Podcast@gmail.com. Love.